Cat Waifu Santa is best Santa. Also, that kid isn't going to grow up into a healthy young man, is he? We opened this Christmas episode with, oh my god, they dropped a nuke! No, that's not what happened. But would it have been nice? No, as it turned out, just as the Precure were going to sit down to have some Christmas cake, yeah, that's a thing in Japan, Director Abraham contacted them to go check out a crashed ship near their location. Sure enough, it was shaped like a sleigh and had what looked like a fat man in a red suit riding it. Oh great, so we're gonna have another corny adventure with the fat man. I'm onto you guys, you can't fool me anymore, Star Tweet. Go. Yeah, apparently this space dandy reject was doing Santa Claus's job of delivering gifts around the world. Was that why Santa fought the Martians? He just wanted to protect his copyright? Uni just so happened to be familiar with this race of aliens known as Santa Seijin. Yes, once again, this show graces us with its very creative writing and naming sense, with these Santanians being a race who enjoyed seeing the surprised faces of others, and as implied in this episode, had likely had many of their race come down on the night of December 24th just to deliver presents on a planet light years away from theirs. Well, no, as we saw last season, there was a traditional fat man in a red suit whom the Hakuto team helped in. Oh wait, there I go again, trying to bring actual continuity into the Precure universe. Bad boy, bad. Anyway, the reason people mistook Christmas Dandy here for the fat man was because they were looking at his QT knockoff. Said robot wasn't doing so well. The crash had busted his CPU, and while Lawless Ship would be able to repair him, it wouldn't be in time for Christmas. Thus, of course, our heroines agreed to help save Christmas, not unlike what last year's team did. Oh, but it's totally different this time, as they're teaming up with a Martian Santa Claus in his rocket-propelled sleigh. Okay, that's actually kind of awesome. To help speed things along, they were able to rely on the Fu Warp, which, yeah, I'm sure spamming it won't lead to any trouble later. But yeah, standard delivery montage, with our superheroines first delivering presents at Elena's home, preferential treatment much, before trespassing on many different properties. Good to know the show teaches such wholesome values. Okay, to not sound like a total Scrooge, it was cute enough, and again, the fact that they were doing all of this while riding in an alien spaceship sleigh was kind of cool. Still, with the New Year's around the corner, the Precure began discussing their plans for the future. Elena revealed her plans to become a translator, as stated last week, and in order to do that, of course she would be required to study abroad, unlike Madoka, which, yeah, I forgot that was kind of a thing with her, wasn't it? But yeah, obviously we're setting up a standard season finale where everyone was going to go their separate ways after the final battle. And the thought of it all depressed the Pinkley because, yeah, we haven't seen that already. However, Fua assured her that everything would be perfectly fine as long as she was around to warp everyone wherever they wanted, and yeah, I could guess exactly why they were laying all this on so thick. Oh, please tell me they raised all of the death flags. And right on cue, Serpenter arrived to destroy the Joes. Thus, the Precure fought the leader of Cobra while riding atop a Martian Santa's rocket sleigh, which again, that sentence alone is pretty damn awesome. And the fight itself wasn't bad, as while Darkness, was dead set on capturing Fua, he was able to easily knock away 60% of the team with no real effort. At first, they managed to avoid him with the Fu Warp, but trying to warp around the entire Earth probably wasn't the best of ideas. Eventually, he managed to knock both Hikaru and Fua off the ship and encountered them in the clouds. And while he could have easily just grabbed Fua here, he surprisingly tried asking first.
So this guy has kept around most of his generals in spite of their numerous failures, and is now asking Hikaru nicely to hand over Fua. Well, great way to do. Snake Man here is actually one of the most polite Precure final bosses ever.
Thus, when Hikaru was just being rude and not sharing her plushie, Darkness tried to take her by force. This, again, led into a pretty good sequence where I think for the first time, Hikaru really took advantage of her star jumping ability, even going full Super Mario 64 by the end. However, the true MVP of the show soon arrived to save the day. And from there, the Precure used their greatest technique, finisher spamming. Yay. And this actually worked on the guy, allowing them to finish him off with the Fua cult chant.
So, of course, even the final boss has to be made to look weak in the show and... Wait, what?
Yeah, I'll admit, this caught me by surprise. Darkness essentially pulled a play out of the book of another Green Cloak supervillain and sent a Doombot to measure the strength of his enemy, as well as the capabilities of a copy of his armor. Granted, I still have a few problems with this scene in terms of the overall series plot, which I'll get to, but credit where it's due, good forethinking, man. Anyway, in spite of likely voiding the warranty on his ship, Christmas Nandy and the Precure still managed to deliver all of the presents. Elle and the siblings were especially happy.
I haven't even opened it up yet, and yet I can totally tell this is exactly what I wanted.
With that, the episode ended with the alien flying off, likely to battle the real Santa in an epic final showdown for the ownership of the holiday.
Just like the classic B-movie, this plot was just so stupid that it somewhat became enjoyably bad. I mean, it's still not good, obviously.
Much like last year, the Christmas stuff here it added nothing at all from a storytelling perspective, just something semi-Christmas related. Yeah, this dude's design really doesn't scream Christmas to me. That said, I'm convinced somebody at Toy watched that episode of MST3K because this was one of the most ridiculous Christmas stories ever. Again, let's just ignore the fact that this dude, for the sake of his kicks, traveled many light years just to deliver presents to children of a planet he should have little knowledge about, and yet somehow knew exactly what to get them, including what looked like name brand products. I'm just distracted by his pretty damn sweet ride. At the end of the day, this is a very standard superhero Christmas story, but little touches do add a little spice to it. That said, the main event was of course the Doombot Darkness. Very smart play by the guy to not just go in guns a-blazing, but rather send a scout to measure his enemy's abilities. They even kind of hinted at it by the fact that the Doombot was a one-track minded machine just looking to take Fua. Granted, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between the fake and the real since we don't actually know that much about Darkness at all. Which leads into my issue with this that has been plaguing this final arc of the series. This fight should have come earlier. As a friend of mine pointed out, a fight like this is meant to build up the final boss as a legit threat. Well, it's kind of hard to do that when we likely only have 5 episodes left in the series and our heroines have already defeated all of his underlings multiple times. I mean, just imagine if this fight had come right after his full body debut. The fact that the Precure almost lost to a foot soldier of all things would end up hanging over them for the majority of the series. Doing it here, while kind of effective, pales in comparison to what could have been, and would have at least helped to not make this team look like the weakest in the entire franchise. Which is a shame because the fight here, other than the finisher spamming, wasn't bad as it had its moments. But again, with only 5 episodes left, it's hard to get excited to see the finale of all of this, in spite of how much they also tried to build up the emotional weight here, which, yeah, you know what, I'll save talking about that for next week.
If you haven't seen it yet, since I did upload a little late, I posted my quick thoughts regarding Amazon leaking the Healing Good Precure designs. I think Toei tried to cover it up by removing it from their stores, but as they say, once it's on the internet, it's there forever. Because of it, I did end up taking a day off from making my Simple Gear GX review, but I'll still try to get it out as soon as I can, so look forward to it. And until then though, Merry Christmas everyone, and Oh no, another Santa's coming! Quick, everyone's in the bunkers!